Thanks indeed for staying with us. The program is this morning on ITV, with so much time still left before the 2023 general election. Many persons, even years before now, are already talking about zoning at the national level. Many persons believe that it is the turn for power to return back to the south. That means the north had taken its own 8 years, then power should shift back to the south. Within the southern enclave, there is this talk of where will it be zoned to. The southeast geopolitical zone already raising concerns that, look, it should be our turn to take a shot at the presidency and everyone will support us because we have not gotten there. Well, the southwest is saying that it should be zoned to the southwest because they appear to be the strongest base of the APC in the southern part of the country. The South is saying, look, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan can go back. Some South persons, anyway, not just the whole region, are saying he should go back and take a shot at that particular, at the presidency. But away from this national scale, at the other scale, at the state level, in some states, you see where the governorship position is shared among the three senatorial districts here. Some say, look, the north or the west or the east, depending on what district have produced the governor, it's only right that it goes to the other side. Even in terms of councillorship election, councillorship or local government chairman, it goes from ward to ward to ward. In terms of our local government chairman, what these have gotten it, what the other one should get it. When it comes to councillorship, they tell you, villages are divided into family compounds or even quarters or kindreds or hamlets. That particular hamlet had gotten. Whether they did well or not, let them wait. It is our turn. And what PLO Lumumba, the DG of the Kenyan Law School, will always say it, that Africans don't joke with zoning. As far as they are concerned, no matter what it is, the people believe that once it is zoned to their area, whether performance or not, it is their turn to eat. And they must eat within the time frame when their own, even sometimes when nothing happens, just let our own be at the State House. My name is Iharuata. This morning, we'll be looking at a topic, tag 2023, zoning over merit over zoning, or zoning over merit. Depend on how you want to actually flip and which one you are bringing forward here. But zoning is one thing that is already in the top burner, and the political drums are getting louder over the issues of zoning. I'm now being joined by Comrade Aruka Okole Abo. Araka Okole. Is it?
Okole Abo.
Okole Abo. Yes. This is a certified management consultant and a public affairs analyst. Now let's come in here, Comrade Araka. Now, the fundamental worry which some of us have raised, what we are looking at here, let's start from your own point of view. How do we get to this point of zoning over merit, or merit, or how do we get to a point where we had to start to zone to pacify, if possible, tribe and religion?
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
It's Nigeria. It's a very unique geographical location. Okay. We also need to look at historical past when discussing sensitive issues like this. Why zoning in the first place? You get what was the essence? What brought about it? If we are together as one people, then what's the essence of zoning? Why do we discuss zoning? Why not look at merit? You get, but when you x-ray deeply, you begin to find out that there are factors that were considered. Considering the complex nature of Nigeria, considering the geographical location entities that came together to form this Nigeria, this enclave called Nigeria. I was previewed to a document called the Niger Delta Committee Report of 1896, which is popularly known as Lord Selborne Committee Report. It was the findings of that committee that led to the amalgamation of this country. And if you look at that document totally, you will begin to see that there are factors that were considered before enshrining 1, 2, 3 into this. And part of it is diversity and inclusion management, which is key to nation building, which is key to national security. So in their wisdom, they thought these diverse people with different religious background, different political inclination, different orientation, culture, coming together. Then they felt the best way to handle these people, it's what is called diversity and inclusion management, which is the best way to go about it. And when you begin to look at diversity and inclusion management, you also need to look at the places of zoning. Zoning was not meant to be over merit. No. It was supposed to be merit first. When you have men with capacity, when I say capacity, Nigeria, what we need to do is to assemble our best. When I mean our best, according to Taylor, when he talks about the good man, if you're a human resource manager and you want to employ, you don't beg God, let me see the heart of this person that I'm employing. What is he like? No. All you need to do is look at his resume, then probably do a background check on the person. Then you sit down with the person, discuss with the person, see if he has what it takes to contribute efficiency in the system and the organization. These are part of the first thing you should be looking at. So when you talk about merit, you need to first look at character of the persons. Our leaders are not from abstract world. They're from our communities. The senator you have at the National Assembly is from a ward. He's from a kindred. He's here from us. We decided that this one our own.
Among us.
Yes. That hey, this man, we know him. He would go for us. And from his kindred, he moved to his ward. From his ward, he moved to the constituency. From the constituency, he moved to the senatorial district, and then to the state. Then federal government. But you see, we got our priorities right, which is just the truth as Nigerians. So in our selection, in this case, we the electorates, we the voters are actually the human resource manager here.
Okay.
It is now our responsibility to say, hey, we will vote you, we will vote you, we will vote you. But what are the conditions for voting? Are you looking at a good man based on those indices of, hey, character?
No. Let me take you back now. Because like what I said in my introduction, when we talk about zoning, most of us are quick to look at it at the federal level.
Thank you.
At the state level, it is almost 100% there. At the senatorial district level, it's almost 100% there. At the House of Reps level, at the level of constituency, is almost there. When you get to the issue of the local government, the fight from which ward will bring and which ward had before is very much there. When you get to the councillor, in some instances, the village is completely agreed that the other one should go. We have 4 graduates here who don't have job. That one should go and do 2 years. You, don't worry, face your farm, wait for 2 years. After this man finishes his 2 years, we will give it to you. You know the way they share these things sometimes. You start to ask questions. Why don't we look at merit? Why are we so fixated at zoning?
Okay. Bro, let's take a real life situation now.
Okay.
You know, I'm a certified management consultant and a public affairs analyst.
Fine.
And what I tell you, what I share with you, is actually empirical dialectics.
Go ahead.
What I share with you are verifiable facts.
Fine.
2015, let me use Anambra State as a case study. I contested out of 6 aspirants. We bought the form for State House of Assembly. And, you know, with your narration, it's obvious that you know what is happening in this grassroots. Okay. It's obvious you're a grassroots man.
Why?
I give that to you. Now, the local government, first and foremost, it started with my kindred. And I thought, hey, 2008, 2009, I ran for Nance National President. And when I saw the balkanization in Nance and all that,
and the
interest groups, at graduation, I felt I have to go back to University of Port Harcourt and graduate. Now, at graduation, I had a plan. I have a way forward. I have a roadmap for that constituency. I was one among, in fact, in all the candidates 2015 State Assembly Ihiala constituency 1, I was among the first that held all the town hall meetings. We call them kindred polls.
Are you sure those meetings work?
Yes, it does in my case. But you need to also understand the interests of the shadow stakeholders. When you say they are sharing, you do 2 years, you do 1 year, it's among themselves. It's all about their interests.
Okay.
And they don't look at merit. I was substituted for a serving member of Anambra State House of Assembly today.
Why?
They prefer mediocrity. They said, I know their fear is that my gods, they don't like the gods. They felt, hey, this guy would shake this assembly from the intelligence information they gave to the party.
That means you are not loyal.
In their own sense of loyalty, in their definition of loyalty. What is loyalty? My brother, loyalty has to do, see, first and foremost, you aspired to represent a certain interest which must be sacrosanct to you if you understand governance and new public management. So merit cannot be overemphasized and cannot be substituted and cannot be, how do I put it, changed for anything.
But the proponents of zoning have always argued that, look, it is a pacification process.
I agree.
If your area for now have not gotten it, it's only natural, according to them now, natural and morally right that we give it to that area.
Now, in total adherence and agreement to zoning, but before zoning, if it is zoned to you, you need to also look out for men of character. That's men with emotional intelligence, men with empathy, men that understand, that feels the people. You need to understand emotional intelligence first. Secondly, you must be a man of common sense, which I call empirical dialectics. It's only common sense that will tell you the sufferings of the people. It's only common sense that will tell you that, hey, I don't need evidence, right, to know a corrupt government. What do I need to do? A government that has mismanaged the affairs of the state at a given period, all you need to do is to look at their budget, evaluate the projects that has been done, and it's obvious. If it's a responsive government, you know. If it's a government that is, bended at mismanaging public funds, you know. Now, let me narrow this thing down to Anambra State. Let me examine Anambra State for you.
Okay.
Why? Because our election is forthcoming, November 6th. June to July, first week of July, is the deadline for all party primaries in Anambra State. So, what are their strategies? And these are leaders. I asked a fundamental question in a critical stakeholders meeting in Anambra State. And look, we estranged all the aspirants. And I said to them, you guys are not ashamed. You are parading men that are 60 years and above. When you have able-bodied young men, sound, full of emotional intelligence and artificial intelligence, digitally inclined, seasoned men with scientific management skills, you want to shortchange them for this set of people that are 50 and above. And now ask a critical question. I said, all of you here, minus 1999, 23 years to how old you are now, you find out that they are not above 45 years. At the time they made Mbadinuju the governor, they're not 45. They were not even 50 years. The oldest among them at that point should be 50. But here we are, able-bodied young men, sound, researchers, intellectuals. In Anambra State, it's a very strategic state in the sense that, my brother, we have human capital. We have human capital.
Financial capital.
We have financial capital. We have all the necessary resources. if you check
but the zoning still takes place.
Yes. As I speak to you, it has been narrowed down to Anambra South.
Who narrowed it?
The shadow stakeholders.
Who are the shadow stakeholders?
Okay. Shadow is shadow now. Why do you talk like this?
No. Who are the shadows? Because if we have a system where I know I had cause to talk to Umwoye, and Umwoye had told me, that they're working hard. Willie Obiano is saying, look, he's going to give it to Abga. The PDP is already talking tough despite some division in the party. How come sometimes all of this group, without holding meeting, how do they do it? Okay. They won't hold meeting. But everyone will know that those people are aggrieved. They need governorship now. Okay. So we'll give it to them.
Now, zoning, remember, I said it's not totally out of place.
Okay.
I'm not against zoning. But what I'm saying is this. I know the importance of zoning. I know that zoning intends to accommodate diversity.
Fine.
It's about inclusion management. Hey, Anambra North had not tested that seat. Then there was a propagation.
That's the Onitsha area?
Yes. Onitsha, Anyamelum, Ibariam, down to Aguleri, including where the governor is coming from, to Nsugbe, Onitsha, or Baru. Okay. You get all those local governments comprises to Anambra North. And it was towards the aspiration of Governor Peter Obi's government. And at that point, they felt, okay, equity, let's zone to North. And it was agreed. And remember, these things are conventional issues, so it's not constitutional.
But there is no convention that decide, but somehow it just appears to be like an informal arrangement.
That is where the shadow stakeholders play the game now. Okay, for example, Governor Willie Obiano, in his wisdom, felt that Soludo is the best. And I agree that Soludo is a man of capacity. Right? But Soludo
is not above 16.
Soludo is above 60. Soludo, as at 1999, when he in his best, he was at our age. Between the ages of 40, 45, that was when he became the CBN governor. He wasn't 50 when he became the CBN governor. And at that point, Soludo would have gone straight global governance. We need to realize that, hey, your local government is 1, the state is 2, the federal government is the highest government at this level. But when you begin to think global governance, you begin to realize that the federal government is now a local government, African region becomes the state, and global, UN, becomes like the global and the highest stage of government. These are the places I expect Soludo to be, to toe the lines of Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. That's where his mates are. That's where his class are. Not Anambra State. What's the total budget of Anambra State in a year? In the 8 years, how much is Anambra? What are we even fighting over? We need managers. We need men that have created something from the grassroots. We need men. Anambarian has sport. We have men.
But the zoning now is...
It still favors these sound men that I'm talking about. These are men that started business from crash, and today they are running $100 million, $200 million turnover annually. These are men that have employed labor. These are men that have started something from crash, managed conglomerates.
If we come back now to take a deeper look, while we still look at zoning, at every single point zoning is discussed, it appears as if some person somewhere pick from the region of pick anyone he is interested in. Sometimes it doesn't go with the will of the people. The other person who is agreeing to the zoning from whatever region. Look at 1999, for instance. How will you analyze where the whole Southwest don't want an Obasanjo, even to his ward in Otta, and yet the other blocks in the north and the southeast say they want Obasanjo, and even without votes coming from his area, he became president and commander-in-chief. Because the zoning was zoned to the southwest, that Abiola died, they are aggrieved, let's pacify them. Let's pacify them. And in the pacification process, they the choice of the other region was the one that the other regions pick, and not the choice of
the indigenous
region, which is Olufalaye as against Olusegun.
I get. Now, you see, that was a very critical period in the politics of this nation. And there is need for pacification, as you said. Okay. Now, look at the Southwest and the whole agitation against OBJ in 1999. Then check their agitation in 2003. Then you begin to see a region that is politically coordinated.
They moved.
They just have to. Naturally. PDP becomes an automatic candidate for the whole of Southwest. Abdul Kadri, for the first time, a Northerner became the national chairman of AD. So these are people that understand interest aggregation, interest articulation, and they decided, hey, okay, we just have to back.
But is it right when we zone for some powerful bloc to choose for the people that are to be rewarded by the zoning? Because we saw, even when power was being zoned in 2007, back to the north, we saw where maybe the presidency also picked Umaru Yar'Adua, may his soul rest in peace, and picked Ebele Jonathan to become his deputy, which the likes of Odile and others, who were the very popular frontliners, were dropped.
Well, at the time of that 2017 election, I was actually at the forefront of Odile campaign organization. At that point, I was in University of Port Harcourt, and we were working with a gentleman we called Marshall Chukwu. He's the chairman. We call him Chairman Student Stakeholders Forum. Now, the passion, we followed, but towards the tail end, and you cannot separate the relationship at that time between OBJ, Odile, and Yar'Adua. But understand that Yar'Adua has a relationship period to Odile's surfacing in the scheme with OBJ.
Is his elder brother in the 70s?
There is a family relationship. And his love for the Yar'Adua Foundation, because he knows therein is capacity. He knows that he knows Yar'Adua was a man of capacity. He knows Yar'Adua, when you define a good man, it's a man of empathy. He's a leader. That's the only leader. That's the leader that came out to national television and told you that the electoral process that brought him in was faulty.
But in that instant, when we do zoning, why was the North not allowed to pick their candidate?
No, you see, party interest now. We'll get to that. That is the major problem in governance. And I put more of the blame to the people, the electorate. I ask you why. Ask me why.
Why?
I am a classical example.
Okay.
You see, until we stop collecting 2,000 naira to vote,
bag of salt and wrapper,
until we begin to think, we begin to reason, men of concepts, men of idea, men of innovation, to paddle the affairs of our system, we need administrators. We need to separate politics from administration. There is a total dichotomy that should be there. It was done in America during the government of Woodrow Wilson. Go back to that study. Administrative principles. He looked at the system and he said, oh, this system it's a spoiled system. Mind you, if you do a comparative analysis of American system and Nigerian system, you will begin to realize that once upon a time, America was in a worse situation than we are, when we even had a better administrative system. Okay. It was called the spoiled system. And up until 1978, 79, they now got it right. You get? So, at that point, zoning, even job was based on party affiliation. But we need to begin to think as good men. We need to also know how best to propagate the interests of the masses. How best to articulate those interests. You see, agenda setting, it's one tool that politicians had always used. Through ethnicity and religion. They just come cajole the people. You know, they are sweet talkers. They cajole the people, they bring out money, they share. And the people are so myopic because they are hungry. So they sell their birthright like Esau. And today, they come back to say the government is not performing. When the government has spent over 3, 4, 5, 6 billion naira to get itself inside the system, they must recover now. There must be a return in investment. So the people actually are the human resource managers in this case.
Okay.
Yes. Look at social contract theory. It's simply because men are overpowering men that men came together, empower some men, say, okay, go help us control this whole system. That's what governance is all about. So we need to begin to realize that indices of good governance, the world is watching us. And we also need to realize that the days of political science and public administration is gone. It left with COVID. When you talk of post-COVID-19 administrative principles now, governance and new public management comes into place. Based on scientific management. And these are the things we should be looking at when talking about governance in Nigeria.
Now, you're taking us into a different realm of public service management, administration, and human resource management. But let us come back. We're still talking a little bit of politics now. Flowing with the issue of zoning and the issue of merit, as we try to look at it, the problem many will ask, and many are still asking, why is it that most time when we talk of trying to zone, we don't put our best forward?
That's where I said,
how can we change this?
Okay.
Where you are asked
Let me give you the fundamental
vote, and you look for somebody and you say, hey, guy, this is the best that this region can bring. This is the best that this family can bring to become a councillor. This ward is our turn to bring chairman. This is the best that we can bring. Sometimes in some states, like Edo, that has multiple languages, the chairmanship is decided even based on language, where you have about 4 or 5 languages in the local government. They share it around, each one bringing their own, each ethnic group bringing their own. Why is it sometimes difficult to bring out good persons?
Okay.
Sometimes, because when they get 2-3 months, they start to complain.
I tell you for free. You see, it's community based.
Okay.
As we speak now, Governor Willie Obiano has made up his mind that in the best of his wisdom, that is Professor Charles Soludo.
He has not announced that.
Hold on.
It's just a friend.
Let me tell you.
And
let me help you. I know you're trying to.
No, he has not announced that.
I know you're trying to manage, but remember.
We know they are friends. They are very close friends.
Remember,
they are good people.
I said, I am giving you an empirical dialectics, verifiable facts. We're not children anymore. You can't say, you don't come to national television and drop things that you can't substantiate. I'm a scholar.
Okay.
I'm a researcher.
Okay.
Day before yesterday, just yesterday, there was a meeting at Women Development Center in Oka. That meeting comprises of all the appointees of the state government, and that state has close to 5,000 SSAs and SA. They gathered, and the secretary to the government of the state announced the interest of the state, which is Professor Charles Soludo. They went to the state assembly. They announced same. Now, why not let those people exercise their mental sagacity? Why not them x-ray these people? They know all the aspirants. They know all. So why force? You see, that brings about, internal democracy is key to any electoral process. That is the foundation. If you have a free and fair primary election, I could remember in some years back, we were having a chat with Professor Kimsi Okoko. And Professor Kimsi Okoko, he said the bereft of political ideology is the reason for all party internal crisis. Now, we even operate from the point that zero ideology first. We don't even know what party is. We don't even know what ideology is. So for us, it's a mere platform where we express our political interests and aspiration.
Okay.
So, you come, you look at the most viable party, you rent it. And at that point, the party machineries are ready to milk you to the down. So, you ask a very critical question. Why is it that when we come to zoning, we attend to select mediocres against sound men? It is simple, bro. Very simple. Because human being in nature, if parochial, if mediocre in his thinking, will think that bringing any sound man on board is tantamount to mutiny. But little did they know that some of us actually followed them as mentees, as mentors. But when we realized that they are not in the right track, that I can't go to any world forum or any global conference and refer to men of questionable characters as mentors. I understand leadership to the extent that you need to understand the need for sustainability measure. Our leaders have no plan for sustainability measures. If it happen now, how many of them fit run? Now we go still do the run. And I still blame the youth till tomorrow. Haven't aggregated all these interests at the top, they will still pass it down to the youths for implementation. So we are responsible. We are the problem of this country. They are not the problem. How many are there? Because we are hungry. Because we have been deprived. Because of what we call deprivation and distraction mechanisms. These are what they have used to subject young men. There are more sound young men like me in Anambra State. Look at the likes of Chris Azuboko. Sound young man. If you listen to that guy, people that I have interacted with, just the way you're questioning me down, I've questioned Chris Azuboko. I've seen a sound young man, innovative.
But since it is zoning, and the governor controls the state and whatever, somehow maybe he really wants continuity in policy.
That's the lack of sustainability measure. Because if you forget your past, you will have problem in the future. Look at Peter Obi's choice for sustainability measure. How far did he go with it? Meanwhile, Governor Willie Obiano was in, let me give you this empirical fact.
Go ahead.
Governor Willie Obiano was in his country home in Richmond, Texas, having the best fun of his life as a retired man. And they approached him. He didn't look for it. He told me this story himself. So I'm telling you from a verifiable fact. They approached him. And at the point of approaching him, he looked at it. Yes, it's something he can do, provided they are serious. He said from his pool that he actually came down to Nigeria to bring CV and didn't go back, which is like 3 weeks to the election. And at the time he was coming, he doesn't know. He said, I quote him, that the only person he knows in Ihiala local government is Honorable Engineer Fort DK. You get? And at that point, a certain young man that lives in Houston, called Henry Okoliabo by name, Igrigi, through his friend, the chief of staff to the governor today, is his close friend. And Primus now said to him, we have this interest. This is a man of capacity. This is the kind of man you guys are looking for as a governor. This is an epitome of leadership. This is a man that retired from a bank with a wonderful dossier. So we want him to come back and be the best manager that we would ever have. Haven't governed Fidelity Bank at that level, which is richer than Anambra State if you do a good comparative analysis. If he was able to manage, look at the consideration.
But the dynamics are different.
Yes. Yes. But that was their calculation. That if he was able to manage Fidelity Bank as big as Fidelity Bank is, he can still manage Anambra State. Hold on, I'm taking you somewhere.
Quickly, because I want us to start to hit towards the concluding part.
Now, That was how a congregation of Ihiala local government is called UDF, Ihiala Development Foundation, resident in America. They called for a courtesy meeting. They went to see Governor, a yet aspirant Willie Obiano. They expressed the joy, the fact that one of them that understood what character is, that understood what common sense is, that understood what education is. So as far as they were concerned at that point, this gentleman is coming to fix Anambra State.
Now, let's go somewhere. Nationally now, the talk is in threefold, and I want you to react to this. Many are saying that the North shouldn't come, but some are saying Atiku group are not comfortable with that. The Southeast is saying for fairness, equity, and justice, it's our turn to be at the State House. Some South-South interests and PDP interests are telling the former president, he's on all alive, that he should go back and finish his tenure. The Southwest are still not letting go, that they want to still test it. Where do we go from here?
Well, very critical questions, very critical analysis needed.
Okay.
If you are to be fair, and you want to zone
Good.
based on inclusion, diversity and inclusion management.
Fine.
2 regions you have to look at.
Okay.
All the other regions, in all honesty, or not region, right? Yeah, region or geopolitical zone.
Their regions.
Regions. The 2 regions that comes to mind, talking about the presidency of Nigeria.
Correct.
If we are to be fair, and if we are to be objective, and if you are a good researcher, you will find out that the Northeast and the Southeast, the 2 Eastern men, the 2 wise men, are yet to test this power. And solution might come from there. Who knows? Since we have tried other zones.
But the Northwest appears to be home and dry.
Yeah, you see, the Northwest is a very accommodating place. All they need to understand that is you have their interests at heart. They are the most politically conscious set of people. An average a gate man, Aboki, would sit down with his BBC 6 a.m., sit down with Radio Nigeria, sit down with his Voice of America,
Deutsche Welle,
Berlin in Hausa. Then recently he now connects to China. Now you see that he is more informed than that bank manager. That's why you could comfortably engage a Northerner, a Northerner precisely, not irrespective of his level of education. You can engage him politically. And I sit with this set of people to gather, you know.
Okay,
now hold on, you ask a question.
Go ahead.
And I drop 2 options.
Good.
But if you also have to narrow it down.
Beside the Eastern alignment, go ahead.
If you also want to narrow this thing down,
Okay.
the Northwest will always understand if you push this thing back to Southeast.
Okay.
It's natural.
But
you said you want to do zoning. Okay. You need to also accommodate diversity and inclusion management, sense of belonging.
Okay, now if we look at zoning now, you talk about the Eastern Corridor, from the Southeast to the Northeast. Atiku is from the Northeast, the Eastern Corridor. But they're telling him that, hey guys, it's time for the Southeast, you can't come out.
And he's a perfect gentleman with the little I know about him.
Okay.
I am close to
some of his people.
Thank you. And we brainstorm. We talk. Among is Mohammed Indumi. Mohammed Indime, we call him manager. General manager. This is a sound young man. You see, the nation needs to start looking at 50 below. My brother, we are skillful. We've got the vibes. We've got the global consciousness. And if you don't have the basic knowledge of issues bordering around national security, you're not even qualified to be considered. That is the political economy of Nigeria. If you don't have a full, at least average knowledge of it, you have nothing to do in the space of public governance. You need to understand the basic problems now. You need to understand the issues bordering around national security. Otherwise, how would you? What are you coming to do? You're a novice. That's when you now begin gather some, unwarranted people around you because you don't even know what to do. You're empty. Right? But if you begin to look at sound young men, these are men that are well trained. They are ready for leadership. But, they are also procedural, patiently waiting because it's about mentorship. But the leaders also need to realize that there are certain gentlemen. There are sustainability. It's about sustainability measure. Now, to fix this situation, if Southeast, for example, what is our ready of preparedness? There are sound young men in the Southeast. You can get the same thing with the Northeast. So I think we should narrow this thing down for the sake of fairness, for the sake of equity. Okay. Right? We've been objective, haven't considered Northeast and Southeast.
Now, looking at it from the fact that the Southeast, you said it should be narrowed down, that there are competent men in the Southeast. I know, having asked Barrister Maxwell had complained that some people from the Southeast are asking who will be your president if it is zoned to the Southeast. And Barrister Maxwell said, what about him? That he is there. They can vote for him. But looking at the Southeast, there is this political talk about a region that puts too much egg in one basket. There's a time for the South. I know Chris Wambozengigi have addressed that question, that issue before, that let us start to take over the entire basket. Let's not just put our eggs in one basket. We are too much politically in one basket. You share that school of thought.
And you see, that is where, he is one man that also understood politics. That understood the fact that regionalism is good but not very good.
Okay.
There is also need for the affiliation with the North. Let me take you a bit historical, because to understand present hour realities, you need to understand the historical facts and dialectics.
Okay.
Zik of Africa, and this in several fora, I have shared this thought and perspective because it was born out of research. Zik of Africa dominated at the point the Lagos politics from the formation of the first political party. Right?
Yeah.
When he realized that, hey, this country, it's bigger than a region, he sought for better alliance. And the kind of politics Awol had played and the cross-carpeting to demystify, that's a typical Western politics. You get? But you need to also study in review so you understand why things are happening. Because they succeeded in things like that before. So there is need to also, bring it back because history repeats itself. Zik looked at the whole scenario and he knows that to handle this nation, he has to go back to the North for an affiliation. After that strategic alliance, Tafawa Balewa emerged as the prime minister. Zik emerged as the head of state, right? Now, that is strategic alliance. When the war was still fresh, Alese Kweme thought the same way. Because it's about strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's about SWOT. It's a game of number, where your numerical strength determines your victory or your altitude. So he looked at the biggest weakness. If you do the Southeast SWOT analysis, you realize that our weakness is our population, our number. So there is need for a strategic alliance. We need to reach out to the North. We can't do it all on our own. No, we can't. So our leaders of thought are beginning to reason. No, let me take you this. Okay. Epreme strategically went back to the North, did his whole SWOT analysis, aligned with the North, and that brought about Shagari as a president, late President Shagari, and brought Ekweme as the vice president. When the war was still fresh, when the wound, the injuries were still fresh, we had that alliance. Then what stops us from same alliance today as Southeast people? So we need to begin to realize that we need such strategic alliance with the North. The Southwest did it. For the first time, they aligned with the North. And they achieved the vice president. It's study. It's simple. It's common sense. That's why I told you we need men of character, men of common sense, and men with sound education, which is artificial intelligence, to move this thing out. So for the Southeast to get it, and you see the windows are open. Look at the relationship they have with the North and the West. It's not as rosy as it was in 2015. It's not as rosy as it were in 2019. So we need to take advantage of such lapses as a people. We need to look at our historical facts, how our leaders did it. It's not about regionalism. We can't do it all our own. It's not about Biafra. We need to keep all those agitations. You can't be chasing so many things at the same time. No. You need to keep all those agitations aside. And then, hey, see, actually, if you're to be fair, let's discuss this thing, please. It's about inclusion. Include me. Naturally, power is taken. She has to, at a point, she stood to conquer.
I mean, power is not given.
No, power is not given. Power is taken. I won election in this country. Primary election. I will forward you the videos. I won election in Abga, 2015 primaries, Ihiala State constituency, which, what's it called? Honorable Livinus Udemadu, it's now representing. He is on the seat. 2015, I won the primaries. I scored 38 votes. He had 2 votes. The last became the first, and the first became the last in this same country. But we have to man it up, because it's all about diversity and inclusion management. Because we look at nation building. We look at national security at heart. So there are things we also have to sacrifice at some point for the community, the region, to move forward. It wasn't be me. And I asked myself, my consolation to my people was, it's not about me. At some certain stage, I realized that it's about the people. And the same intent I have for the people is the same thing the guy is going to do. So, why should I bother myself over that? And I left that. In 2019, I tried again. The same Abgao. And as I speak to you, the primaries didn't hold. The videos are still here. Impunity.
But there were results.
Of course. The same guy is still the member. Am I angry? No. Because I am better off. And now I took consolation the day I met Professor Lumumba in Okija. He was invited for Face of Okija.
PLO.
Yeah, PLO. And among all the celebrities, including the celebrant, Chief Dr. N.S. Obi Jackson of Nestor Oil and Gas, a powerful stakeholder also to be reckoned with. Now, when I saw Professor Lumumba there, I said, oh, this is my type. Iron sharpened iron. In a crowd of over 10,000 people, I have to go close to him. I sat down with Prof. I said, Prof, I have to thank him for the knowledge, his boldness to x-ray Africa and the position. Finally,
and Pan-Africanism.
I explained to Prof my plight. Prof said to me that he did the same thing and the people never trusted him.
I had the story that he went round the whole of Kenya. When he finished just 2 days election, he was so popular. And the man brought money.
And shared everything.
Everybody left him. Okay.
So it's the country we find ourselves. That's why I always blame the electorate, not the stakeholders. Because it's all about agenda setting. It's all about perception management. It's what they want the people to see that they saw. At the point, they followed me with propaganda that how would I collect money from Abga people, and I claimed that my ticket was taken. Why didn't I go to court? But, you see, Dr. ABC Ojiako, the chairman of SEPLAT, and a powerful stakeholder in here local government, he said something which I will never forget in my life. He said, politics is not a job. He said, Araka, you need to go secure your economic base. You have a handwork. You're a young man. You can't tell me that politics is your work. I mean, I was shocked. And I went back home after a long hour of discussion with him. He said, first, secure your economic base before looking for political power. That it's not sustainable. And that same advice I push to every aspiring politician. Not the politicians already, those ones are gone. The aspiring one, because the target are the young people, the millennials. What we are seeing today is not the norm. Manandi Igbo si na arụ mgbe ahụ ọ bụrụ omenala.
Interpret.
I must know you consult me for that interpretation.
Okay. Thank you very much, Comrade Araka Okoli. Very detailed, and we've been looking at zoning over. But I think the consensus of what Comrade Araka have been able to raise is that merit is very key. We cannot avoid escape from zoning in a very dense and intense heterogeneous society like ours that is not homogeneous in composition here with diversity of tribe and all of that. But what is key is that merit, and also that everyone must rise up to the calling and ensure that good governance prevail, and the persons who are determined to lead must lead and represent all. And he's saying that leaders must come from those who are largely 50 and below, who are vibrant to take risks, who are determined, who are strong enough to push forward. A very wonderful time here being with Comrade Araka. It's a very wonderful moment here. And somehow, going through the history and the political antecedent of Abraham Lincoln, he tried and tried and tried. And at the point where many thought he was failing, he stepped on the presidency of America. You can't say that here. You know why? You can't say that here. Let me tell you why I can't trust you. Even President Muhammadu Buhari, we saw him saying he's done with it.
When I say not now, I mean in the next 10 years. Hold on.
You leave
I have a plan for my life.
You leave that for history.
Because there are sound men.
Let me tell you.
There are sound men better than I am in that state. Hold on. Let me tell you. Let me explain something. It's not about me. When we begin to realize that it's about us.
Let me also tell you.
It's about us. Let me mention.
Leave the names at Kamaraka. Let's leave it. Somebody sounded like this, and shortly told me my people are calling me.
No.
I'm under pressure.
Not in my case.
Okay, I'll leave that out. We'll follow Araka here, but I think his eloquence, his boldness, his passion really is what I admire so strongly here for God and country. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.